meeting um, today where if each senator was able to privately vote, one person predicted that 20 Republican senators would vote to impeach President Trump based off what they said, that look, what he did was wrong. Before obviously Trump came out and said, look, this is all like a witch hunt and this and that, that the transcript was perfectly fine. So I mean, look, there are Republicans who do want to get him impeached, but again, like the partisanship and then the power. Trump does have a lot of power in the Republican Party,
Yeah,
and
he
everyone.
definitely does. I think that's a lot of things. Like that's something that I think people who like MSNBC watchers they just don't realize as much.
Yeah, I mean, Trump literally has, like, I believe it was like 91% of the Republican Party support, which is quite high, especially since he's coming into an election year. A lot of senators are also coming into election year this year, so it's going to be critical for them to actually vote with him to make them look like very pro-Trump, so they don't have a primary challenger. But it's going to get gridlocked in the Senate because also Mitch McConnell is definitely not even going to let it go on the floor for a vote because Mitch McConnell literally and Trump are both kissing each other's asses together. So, I mean, it doesn't. Mitch McConnell is, first off, I think they blocked like 300 bills already anyway. So it's going to pass the House. The Senate, it's going to get gridlocked, and it definitely is not going to get onto the floor. If it were to get on the floor, I would predict a party line vote. Maybe one or two senators from the Republican side may go over to the Democrat side and vote with them. The only two I could maybe see actually having the courage to do that is possibly Collins and maybe Murkowski. Really depends. I mean, Cruz had said that he was that all the stuff that was coming out was pretty serious. But then what I saw him today on MSNBC saying all the stuff, I cannot see him at all voting for impeachment. But overall, maybe one other person, maybe is Cory Gardner, and maybe Joni Ernst from Iowa. But those two, very, very adamant Trump supporters now after what Trump had said regarding the transcript. So I could really not see that them getting those two over to the Democrat side voting for the impeachment at all. But that's even if there was a vote on the floor, which I highly doubt Mitch McConnell will do. If he does, I would be quite shocked.
Yeah, so that is a probably likely scenario that if like there has to be something really really bad, I think, that is not in play now for the Senate to kind of come in and switch there. And it's definitely going to be interesting to see how the public reacts to this. And my position is like if they don't budge after what the Mueller report was, which was not very conclusive either way, and was Trump could easily kind of played it as exoneration. Definitely wasn't what the Democrats were hoping for. Let's just put it mildly. If that stays, if that doesn't change the political landscape at all, I mean, it's hard to wonder what will, and it'd be interesting to see if impeachment does do that. All right, we will now take a minute to move on to Donald Trump using the Pocahontas slur while telling Jewish voters that Elizabeth Warren will take your wealth away, saying, quote, "You have to vote for me. You have no choice." James, we'll discuss that story in just 46 seconds. Hello, everyone. My name is Spencer Walsh. Here's what's happening on the Spencer Walsh Radio Network. We have Newsflash, always new every Sunday, and, of course, with new episodes occasionally on Thursday as bonus episodes. Also for you, we have Red Alert, new at 11 p.m. every Monday, Uncultured, new at 8:30 p.m., live at 8:30 p.m. every Friday, the best mix show in the game. And also, we have a brand new line out, repping your generation, insulting the old world, repping the young world. Our new OK Boomer merch line is out now. Check it out on Spreaker.com/TSWS. All right, so yeah, this is a pretty incredible story, and I'm definitely going to play that for some of the clips for you here. President Donald Trump, again, using a racist term when going after Democratic presidential hopeful Senator Elizabeth Warren. But again, yeah, with the breaking out the Pocahontas quote here, it's really pretty incredible. This is, and unfortunately, James is not going to be able to hear this because the way we have it set up, it's like it's not going over very well. But pretty much what he was saying is, you have to vote for me. You have no choice. I'm not going to vote for You're not going to go for Pocahontas, I can tell you that. He told Jewish voters during an event at the Israeli-American Council on Saturday night. The president panned Warren's economic plan, saying that you're not going to vote for the wealth tax. Yeah, let's take 100% of your wealth away, Trump continued. Even if you don't like me, some of you don't. Some of you, I don't like at all, actually. You're not going to be my biggest supporters because you'll be out of business in about 15 minutes if they get it. That's a little strange, but Trump also told the audience that some Jewish people in America don't love Israel enough, saying, quote, "We have to get people of our country, of this country, to love Israel more. I have to tell you that. We have to do it. We have to get them to love Israel more. Because you have Jewish people that are great people. They don't love Israel enough. You know what? You know that?" Trump then excused his administration's lack of progress on Middle East in the peace plan that he's trying to make there, saying, quote, "If Jared Kushner can't do it, it can't be done." I mean, if you're talking about failure, or failing at something, then I guess, yeah, but not this, I would say. He also says the president's son-in-law and senior advisor was put in charge of the region, a move that's long been criticized because he just is a real estate guy. He's not a Middle East peace guy in the large stretch. Here's a clip from the rally.
We have to get the people of our country, of this country, to love Israel more. I have to tell you that. We have to do it. We have to get them to love Israel more because you have people that are Jewish people that are great people. They don't love Israel enough. You know that. You know that. But David Friedman is not one of them, and he went to Israel.
Yeah, so that's kind of just shouting out that random guy there in the crowd there. And again, this is like this kind of idea that, Jews, they don't love Israel enough. They're disloyal to their country. And they're pretty much portraying the Jews as all just like wealthy businessmen. Like that, if that's not anti-Semitic overtones, like, I don't know what is. And like, just imagine for a moment if Ilhan Omar said that, or like Jeremy Corbyn in the UK said that, their careers would just be over. Like, there's a reason why. I think a lot of the Jewish, like especially a lot of Jewish, like kind of right wing establishment of Judaism is like people like AIPAC and some rabbis. Although a lot of a large majority of Jewish people have actually called Trump out on this. I think they largely are against Trump because their religion does not condone some of the stuff that he does and the very kind of amoral stuff that he's done. Especially with regards to immigration. But there are a sect of Jews that just kind of remain so close, like kind of the hardcore Zionists there. But a lot of Jews have really kind of continued to call him out. What's your read on this situation and some of the quotes that he said with regards to the Jewish community?
Well, I think it's absurd. I mean, I'm not really shocked though to hear it from him because he feels like he's safe and he has the guard on him and he has the coverage to say these type of things all the time. I mean, he said many things before that have been horrible. I mean, even...
What do you think gives him that coverage, though?
The fact that he doesn't have a major backlash after he says this thing, I will say, is the reason why. And because, I mean, a lot of people in the media, they really look at it and they kind of just leave it alone. But like, for example, what you said with Ilhan Omar, if she said that, when she said, for example, the thing regarding, that was actually on the media, funny enough, when Michael Bloomberg got an endorsement from a fellow billionaire, they were talking about how the not Republicans, one person had actually commented on it, and they were talking on the media about it, and they said, oh yeah, this person, Ilhan Omar, was actually on Fox News, funny enough, Tucker Carlson was saying that she said that she wondered why, because the fact that, well, he was a Jew billionaire, and the other guy was a billionaire who was also Jewish, and that was the reason why that he endorsed Bloomberg, which is completely false. And the reason why the billionaire endorsed Michael Bloomberg is because Bloomberg's a billionaire and the guy's a billionaire, and they trust each other. Well, the guy trusted Bloomberg, at least, to not obviously raise taxes, most likely, since Bloomberg has no plan on doing that. But Trump doesn't really have any sort of major backlash after he says this, and that's the reason why he gets that kind of barrier, he feels like, and he kind of feels as if he has the, well, privilege to say these type of things because of the fact that he just gets away with it. It's almost like a little kid who just misbehaves and doesn't get reprimanded for his actions, and that's basically exactly what happens to Trump. Overall, I think what he said, I think, was quite ridiculous. still don't really understand some of what he said, but I am really not shocked that, obviously, since the media probably won't be going crazy over this, I'm really not shocked that he has not offered an apology, nor has he stopped this type of behavior, because this is not the first time we've seen him do this type of stuff.
Yeah, he's definitely not a guy to apologize there. And I think it's like, if you look at some of the rhetoric that he's been able to kind of do, I think it's just because he's been so kind of blatantly pro-Israel. I think it's safe to say more pro-Israel, just kind of throwing out the prospect of peace. Like, his idea of peace is like just Israel, no, not really including the Palestinian people in it at all, which I think is what disturbs so many people in the left. In working with someone like Benjamin Netanyahu is a big, big problem. And I think it's like disingenuous for so many people in the media, just like that kind of innocuous comment, James, that you mentioned there, when Ilhan Omar tried to say that billionaires try to bring a point about how class consciousness is a big thing among billionaires, but not a big thing among the working class. When she said that about, I believe it was Leon Cooperman, who was endorsing Michael Bloomberg for president there, like that kind of innocuous comment gets portrayed by the left, by the supposedly left-wing media as anti-Semitism, but we really see a much more kind of vicious and, I think, harmful stereotype against Jews put out here by Trump just kind of go untouched for some reason by the media, which is supposedly, again, so anti-Trump.
Yeah, I mean, and even looking back at that, I mean, it was anything honestly that Trump says. I mean, and I will agree though that Trump is just for Israel. I mean, look, the funny thing is though, Judaism doesn't believe in the administration of Israel. They just believe in the idea of Israel and the land of Israel. But they're not going to be believing in, oh, by the way, like, we don't care about the Palestinians. The Jewish faith does care about the Palestinians. They just believe in the idea of Israel because that is the holy land of that religion. And Trump kind of skews it over and makes it seem like, oh, I'm very pro-Judaism because I'm very pro-Israel. But that's not at all what the religion cares about. They just care about having a holy land. And honestly, a lot of the Jews don't support Netanyahu. Only a small amount of the very, very far-right Orthodox members, which is very small in Judaism, maybe like 3 or 4% in this country. And the Zionist movement is ridiculously tiny as well. I believe it's like, as well, right around that number, 4 or 5% of Judaism. The majority of Jews are Reform and conservative, which a lot of them absolutely hate Trump and hate Netanyahu.
Yeah, as I was saying, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like,
but a lot of those Jews, a lot of those more Orthodox Jews, they do live in Israel and vote in those elections to keep Netanyahu in power.
Yeah, and speaking of Netanyahu, there's actually going to be a third election coming up soon because they couldn't get enough seats. Benny Gantz, who actually was supported by a lot of the American Reforms and Conservatives, he's more of like the moderate to left member from the Blue and White Party.
Yeah. I've heard about that's been a very, very contentious election that they've tried to barely stave off. And I think the crazy thing about that, it just shows you how right wing Israel is, and the kind of more aggressive stance is like they still can't defeat a guy who's been accused and indicted by Jewish law enforcement or Israeli law enforcement of corruption. So that is the truth of the matter. Yeah, but we're going to move on here to this very interesting Trump official here who's named Seema Verma, who is just disgusted with the idea of Medicare for all, but she does want the public to pay for stolen Ivanka jewelry. So President Trump's official in charge of Medicare and Medicaid, Seema Verma, came under fire after Politico reported Saturday that she submitted a $47,000 claim for reimbursement on the taxpayer's dime for stolen and uninsured items, leading for Representative Pramila Jayapal, who has put out Medicare for All in the House. She said, my Medicare for All bill covers mental health, dental and vision care, comprehensive reproductive care, long-term care services, prescription drugs, and then she put a little X next to stolen jewelry. The bulk of the claim, for which the Department of Health and Human Services ultimately reimbursed her for at $2,852.40, was for roughly $43,000 of jewelry. Among the roughly 24 pieces was an Ivanka Trump brand pendant, whose estimated value was $5,900 according to a document obtained by Politico. So she's trying to get the taxpayers here, and she's again. So funnily enough, she's still for responsible